Welcome back. I'm here with two incredible ladies, co-founders of an incredible new food product local to Park City. It's called Pantala, and I have Ann Bloomquist and Susan Odell here to tell me all about it. Very impressed with how they've come together, and they focused on food, connection, friendship, all local for your kitchens right here. So thank you both of you for being here.
Thanks for having us. Great to be here.
Yeah. So excited about this story. So I want to start there. How did the two of you come together to create this incredible product?
Well, it starts back in 2012 when I moved to Park City and Susan was already here. And we met serendipitously, I should say, at a Park City Film Series movie. And the movie was about food. And Susan was on a panel answering questions afterwards, and someone in the audience asked about school food and how healthy it was. And at the time, I had just gotten off living on a boat for 11 years and homeschooling my son, and he was coming to Park City schools in 5th grade. And after 2 weeks of packing his lunch every day, he came home and said, "Mom, I really want to eat school food. It looks great." And I looked at the menu, I'm like, okay, chicken fingers and chicken nuggets and tater tots and pizza, and I'm like, all the junk food that I had tried to shelter him from while living on the boat and making all this food. So the question was asked, what was school food like? And Susan said, "I don't know, but I've always wanted to find out." So I ran up to her afterwards and said, "I need to find out about school food too. Do you want to do it together?" So we did. We went to Park City School District and met the director of food services at the time, Kathleen Britton, who was fantastic. And she was all about improving the school foods. She wanted to do programs like school gardens, taste tests, and cooking classes, but she had no funding for it. So Susan and I said, maybe we can help with that. And we started Eats Park City. And EAT stands for Eat Awesome Things at School. And we worked with the school district to improve the school food and put programs into the school system to teach kids how to eat better. So that's how we came about.
And that program has done so much for our kids here. It's evolved quite a bit over time, but I know that my kids who are in the school district have tried like jicama at school. You've been able to introduce menu items made from fresh local ingredients, and we all know there's a lot of restrictions within school districts. There's only so much they can do. So having this resource has been incredible for our kids. Now they have greenhouses and gardens, and it's so exciting that you both came together. And I'd love to hear from you, Susan, about your background as a chef.
Sure. Yeah, as Ann said, when she arrived in 2012, I was already here and kind of dug into the food scene as sort of a second career, I guess. I went to culinary school and started to learn how to cook, and what I really wanted to do is teach other people how to cook and make good, healthy food at home. I didn't start cooking at all until I was in my 30s, and before then, well, we lived in San Francisco for a long time, and you could get anything, anywhere. But I wanted to entertain, and I wanted to share food with friends and family, and have that as a life skill. So when we came here, I started teaching cooking classes and started this slow food chapter here in Park City, and started then obviously with Ann and Eats, and really got dug into the food culture, and I love that. And about me helping other people to eat well has always been what my cooking career has been about. And so when Ann came to me with this idea of, hey, I make this really great topping and everybody who comes over to my house loves it, I think I'm going to jar it and sell it, and you should do that with me. I said, no, are you crazy? But anyway, we worked at it, and I tasted it, and
she worked her magic on it, is what I say. I had the idea and the recipe that I gave to people, but she took it and ran with it and made it shelf stable, and it still tastes great, and it's fabulous.
But we've both learned a lot about food by traveling and tasting and experimenting, and to put that in some ways in a jar and let other people experience those same flavors, and make something basic at home taste amazing by just adding a topping or a sauce. And so that was what this was all about, is to really give people a way to uplift their food, their everyday foods.
It's Mediterranean inspired, but also has local ingredients. So tell me specifically about the recipe and what is in this.
Oh. Well, it starts out with a lot of very highly concentrated flavors: roasted red peppers, sun-dried tomatoes, fire roasted tomatoes, olives, Kalamata olives, marinated artichokes, and some really intense, nice, rich, I want to say umami, it's got that pop. So it's got a really amazing depth of flavor, and it's very unique in flavor. It's like a tapenade, but we wouldn't ever classify it as a tapenade because that's mostly olives. And it's not a bruschetta because that's mostly tomatoes. This is a really nice fusion of all of these ingredients. It's got garlic and onions and spices, and as Ann said, it truly is 13 different ingredients in a jar. So it's something that you can buy one jar instead of buying all these other ingredients and trying to make it home.
Susan, tell me about the progress in the kitchen, how you tested it and worked with other individuals, brought them in to really create this.
Yeah, this was a whole new thing for me. I mean, my cooking has always been about fresh cooking, going to the market, finding out what's in season, bringing it home, and just making things. I don't use a lot of recipes anymore. Thankfully, I don't need to do that. But when Ann shared her recipe and how she makes it, so we started to refine it. And, things change when you have to make them shelf stable. So the first batch was kind of but, it was adjusting even things, the type of onion. A white onion versus a yellow onion. White onion holds its flavor so much more when you actually cook it and have to can it. And this is all about food safety too. You have to have a certain amount of acid level in the food, and testing pHs. And I've got my little meter. I mean, I love it. It's like this little
she's a scientist.
Scientist. And we did hire a food scientist to help us with this and tweak the recipe. And I said, well, it's not working, or it doesn't taste good, or it's getting too dark, or whatever. And little minor changes. And so, of course, we've worked with Department of Agriculture here in Utah to make sure that it is food safe. And I mean, I've learned this is part of my continuing culinary education, honestly. And next, we're going to make more and different types of sauces, which, I'm excited to get back in the kitchen for that. It's produced locally, and the idea was born here, and I mean, this is the perfect place to launch Pantala. We're so excited to have, there's so many beautiful stores here, and in addition to the market at Park City, who's super supportive of local products, and they're our first customer, and so we're excited for that. And
look for it on the
shelf.
shelf.
It's a friendly place, to launch a product, and people love to eat here, and there's a lot of good cooks.
Food here.
Very true. And I know not only did it take an incredible amount of work and effort in the kitchen, but you've also been in charge of the marketing. Has a beautiful label.
Thank you.
And there's some meaning behind that.
Well, the name Pantala is very special to us, and it came about in an interesting way. We worked with a marketing firm out of Cincinnati, Ohio, of all things, because they specialize in startup food companies. Who knew there was such a thing?
And we needed a lot of help. We didn't know what we didn't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, about food, right? And so the name Pantala, if you break it down, pan means global. So we're coming from a global inspiration from food. And tala means story. So we're telling our global story through food. However, Pantala is also the name of the species of dragonfly that circumnavigates the world. And the dragonfly has a very special meaning to both of us individually that we didn't even know about until we got into this. And so there's a subtle dragonfly in the marketing materials, as you can see everywhere, if you really look for it. It's like finding Waldo. Where's Waldo? Exactly. But I'll let Susan tell her dragonfly story, but my dragonfly story is a very spiritual one. It comes from my mother passing away about 6 years ago. And truly, whether you believe in these things or not, she comes to me in dragonflies, both my sister and I. She comes to us in dragonflies in very meaningful, special ways when we need her, or just I'm there for support, and we know she hasn't left us.
I love how intentional the product is and how much meaning is behind it. And we're going to take a quick break and come back and cook with this incredible local product. So stick with us. We'll be back right after this quick break.